and we'll interact with you live on the show.
Welcome back to the Experience Pros Radio Show. Angel Tussey and Eric Kramer helping you get your business right. And we have one of our favorite correspondents, Pam Atherton, is joining us today.
Right, speaker, talk show host, media trainer, award-winning in all of that, I must add. You can check her out on her website, acloserlookradio.com. Pam is with us every single month, giving us some incredible insight and wisdom when it comes to building our brand and marketing in the community. And in these days, when you turn on the news, it is disaster after disaster after disaster. And I know for many business owners, we're very philanthropic. We're super involved in the community and we want to jump right in and help.
Right.
But what do we really need to do when a disaster strikes? Well, Pam Atherton is going to give us the tips and lead the way. Pam Atherton, welcome to Experience Pros.
Thank you so much for having me on. I always love being with you both.
Oh, Pam, you're a favorite kumquat.
Thank you so much. I don't know if you know, perhaps you do, maybe not, because it happened when Hurricane Harvey hit. But in our community, we had an active shooter situation at our community library, and 2 of our librarians were killed and 4 people were seriously injured. So it was a major blow to our community because you think of a library as a safe place.
Sure.
And this was a teenage kid who allegedly did it, and it hurt so many. Well, so what happens when a disaster or a crisis happens is we all want to pitch in and help, but it's our human nature to do so. But there are effective ways and some not so effective ways. And it's important as a company to have some sort of a disaster response, especially if it's something in your local area. Because first of all, your employees want to find an outlet for their anger and their fear and their sadness. And not doing anything makes us feel powerless.
Exactly.
We also need to do this. Yeah, right. I mean, you feel like, how can this horrible stuff go on and I'm not doing anything? We also need to do this as a company to remind ourselves and others that we're not just all about the sales and the almighty dollar, because sometimes that seems to be what comes across, but that we as a company are human. That's an important thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Pam.
It also reminds us that we're all part of mankind on the whole, and that the pain of others is our pain as well. And that's tied into a sense of increasing empathy, not only in us, but in our employees. And you guys know this. There's an old saying, my mother used to use it quite a bit. I've tried to live by it, and it's this: there, but by the grace of God, go I. And that means we don't have a choice of where we're born, what country, what religion, what color of our skin, what financial arena. So when something happens to someone of a different color or nature or religion or culture, we need to remember that that could have been us. There, but by the grace of God, go I. And that's something that giving back in a series like this sometimes helps to do. Would you not agree?
Oh, absolutely. And I think, and we have seen so often in the case of a tragedy where this does bring us all together, and we all show up, we all want to do something. We rally together to show, and even these days, it's not just a matter of if we're going to have a tragedy in our community. It's really when is the next one.
Yeah.
Right. And often we're not expecting one in our own community. So I want to talk about that a little bit, things to do outside of our community and things to do when it happens in our community. So the first thing is outside of our area, because we see that most often, especially right now with what happened in Houston, what happened in Florida, what's happened in Puerto Rico, what just happened yesterday in Mexico.
Correct.
So what do we do when that kind of thing happens? The first thing is, what generally happens is people think, what can I send? Well, organizations and churches, they do drives to get blankets and clothing and food, but this is probably one of the least effective things to do. And actually, you can make more unnecessary work for emergency responders. So when something like this happens, what you want to do is donate money, not things. And we have this tendency, we want to just clean out our closets and pull everything out there. But in most emergencies, there's no way to handle the flow of items, nor to categorize them. Most of the time, the items that you send get shunted off somewhere, and they get lost and not even used. And on top of that, when you try to go to the disaster area to deliver those items, you, in most cases, are getting in the way. And I know that sounds harsh, but it's the true reality. Money is really the right thing to do.
Yeah, we agree with you, Pam. So many times we see well-meaning people all getting in their trucks and vehicles and heading on down. Yep. But unless it is a part of an orchestrated element of the initial emergency response, you're absolutely right. People get in the way, and then they come back frustrated, feeling like, well, I wasn't valued or appreciated.
Isn't that so funny? We get ourselves all hot and under the collar, right? Because they didn't want our stuff and they didn't appreciate it and they didn't value it. And yet it wasn't what was needed. Pam, I think though, this is a normal response. Let's all collect stuff. Let's gather it all. Let's take it all down there. We think we're doing this really amazing thing. We don't ever think that maybe we're in the way, that they don't need this stuff. That it's not going to end up in the hands that we wanted because it's not, well organized. But we're also, I think, a little leery, Pam, about who to send the money to, because we're also seeing a lot of different, and a lot of it might be fake news, but you see all these reports that it's not really ended up in the hands of, and where does all the money go? And so we're trying not to be cynical. And yet, right. There's so many mixed messages I think that we're getting.
You are absolutely right. And that is something that's really very important, is that you need to pick out the organization that you'd like to donate to before disaster happens. And you're thinking, well, how can I do that? But you can research the various organizations that are out there and find the ones that align with your heart. So for me, for U.S. disasters, I'm a huge fan of Operation Barbecue Relief, and I'll talk about that later. For disasters out of country, I contribute to Doctors Without Borders. So you need to make sure that these organizations already have people on the ground in those countries. Otherwise, the organization has to spend time and money forging relationships, and that's not going into the places you want it. Oxfam is a good choice. And by the way, did you know that Salvation Army was the lead organization at 9/11? So check and make sure the money is going where you want it to go.
Yeah, but that's an important piece there too.
Yeah, and there's a website called Charity Navigator, and I think it's charitynavigator.org. You can go there and put in the name of an organization, and it will tell you how much of their money goes towards administration and how much actually gets into the hands of the people who really need it the most. Do that ahead of time, and then you won't get stuck with, you get all these emotional pleas. Oh, give to the blankety blank and the blankety blank, and you want to help, you give, and that was a fake organization, or it's one where the money doesn't really go where you want it to.
That is just a great tip, Pam, to have a plan in advance, to already have your charity of choice. You've already done a little bit of research, already done some plans, and we know, they're counting on our businesses to help in a crisis. And certain businesses can do different things depending on the nature of your business, and tapping into kind of a good match for your brand, what pulls at your heartstrings the most, and just having and being prepared. And I am so sorry, I did not realize that you had an active shooter. It was your community that you lived in. Pam, these things are so scary. They just shake us to our core. And I think also being a place of just being able to have that conversation and a place of refuge as well. Pam, we're going to keep you over the commercial break because we also want to talk about some other things that we can do.
Revolutionizing the way people treat people in business.
Lars Larson believes Obamacare was a death sentence.
Because of the mandates, they were sold a plan that cost them so much in premiums. Some of those people likely looked at that and said, well, I'm going to go to the doctor as little as I possibly can. People don't go to the doctor. The condition they had was serious. They don't get early treatment. And then either it costs a whole lot more money to fix it, or it doesn't get fixed at all because you die.
The Lars Larson Show, weeknights at 8 on Money Talk, 1690 AM.
The boys of summer are here with in-depth coverage on the Orioles, Blue Jays, and Cardinals here in the Rockies. Well, not Cardinals, but if you want the play-by-play and the bird's eye lowdown on these and more wild birds, tune in to Bird Talk on 1690 KDMT, Saturdays from noon to 1.
You don't need to make folks think we're a sports show just to get their attention. In Colorado, 60% of the population feeds and watches outdoor wildlife. Bird Talk is presented by Wild Birds Unlimited, the original backyard bird feeding specialists.
To learn more about the 500 species of Colorado birds, tune in to Bird Talk every Saturday. We'll bring you interesting interviews, the latest news, and lots of fun and entertainment. Call in with your questions and we'll help you create the best backyard wildlife habitat to attract the greatest variety of species.
We hope you'll join us for the best nature show in the known universe, Saturdays at noon for Bird Talk on KDMT, presented by Wild Birds Unlimited. Until then, happy birding.
Hi, this is residential real estate expert Dan Palomino from the Colorado Dream House team. Listen, if you're thinking about selling your home, you want to get the highest price in the shortest amount of time. To do that, you need a great real estate team and one with incredible marketing. We're so sure our marketing plan for your home is better than everyone else. We're willing to put our money where our mouth is. Here's what we're offering. Interview the Colorado Dream House team to sell your home. Then interview our competition. If their marketing plan is better than ours, then you can hire them and we'll pay you $250. I know, it sounds crazy, giving you $250 to hire our competition. It probably won't happen because we're so sure you'll find our marketing plan better, you'll hire us to sell your home at top dollar. Why not give it a try? You have nothing to lose and $250 to gain. Call us today at 720-446-6325. Or to find out more information about our marketing guarantee, visit coloradodreamhouse.com/250.
Hi, this is Oren, owner of Absolutely Cabinet. I sell Aristocraft and Decora cabinets. There are 9 different woods available and many different colors and styles. If you're looking for cabinets, please come in and we will assist you in making an educated decision. Bring in your dimensions and we will show you options and ask you questions so you can decide what you want rather than working with a salesperson that tells you what you should purchase. Our goal is your long-term happiness. A majority of my business is from repeat referral customers. Thanks to all of you for your loyalty over the years.
Go see Oren today, owner of Absolutely Cabinets, and browse his showroom at 5940 West 38th Avenue. That's at the southeast corner of Harlan and 38th Avenue. Or call Oren at 303-425-5592. That's 303-425-5592 for Absolutely Cabinets.
For more than 60 years, Colorado energy companies have relied on fracking. 90% of all oil and natural gas wells have been or will be fracked. Colorado is nationally recognized for our stringent state laws and regulations for oil and natural gas development. The need for reliable, affordable energy is always balanced with protecting Colorado and the environment. To see all that we're doing, go to cred.org.
The Experience Pros Radio Show, home of the original Fan Braggin' Fridays. Take just 20 seconds to become a business revolutionary by sharing a Fan Braggin' story of great customer service by using the hashtag FanBrag or calling the Fan Braggin' hotline at 855-FAN-BRAG, FANBRAG. Now back to Angel and Eric, the Experience Pros.
Welcome back to the Experience Pros Radio Show. Angel Tussey and Eric Raymer hanging out with our friend Pam Atherton. Pam, we apologize for the technical glitch there, just going to a commercial, but glad that you are still with us. Thank you for being a part of the program.
Absolutely. I love being here with you guys. You know that. So one of the things we were talking about is what to do when there is a crisis going on out of your area and how to help with that kind of a thing. But what do you do when there's a crisis that's going on in your own area? Well, as we know, there was a shooting at our community library where 2 librarians died, one of them the children's librarian, and 4 people were seriously injured. So everybody wanted to do something. So the first thing, of course, everybody wants to do is raise funds. But here's something important I learned because of this. You need to check with officials before you start fundraising, because it turns out that the New Mexico Reparations Fund offers financial assistance for victims of crime, including money for lost wages and counseling and funerals. But they are what's called a last payer. So if somebody else declares they're raising money to help victims, maybe let's say raising money for a funeral, then the reparations fund won't pay for that since it's being taken care of elsewhere. So it's important to check before you start fundraising that you don't mess things up for the victims. So we started who would know, right? But your best place is to go to the district attorney's office, where in most states they have victims advocates. And those victim advocates can go through and tell you what's working, what will be working for the victims and what won't.
That's powerful information, Pam. I had no idea that existed. I remember July 20th, 2012, when Angel and I walked into our morning radio show at the time, and we were the first live hosts at our network to address the shooting that had happened at midnight that night before over at the Aurora Theaters. And we didn't do anything by way of, sending money or any of that stuff, but just being there and talking it out, Pam, that's another thing that is really valuable to the local community, is having somebody to listen and to work these things through.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that happen besides money. Just to give you an idea, we did do a fundraiser, and I wanted to share with you what some of those fundraisers were so that businesses in the community can have an idea. So one of the first things we did, which was actually started by a client of mine, was called a restaurant give back. And for 2 weeks, each day, a different restaurant gave back a portion of the day's sales to the fund, anywhere between 10 and 25% of their sales. And our client was very clear to us. They said, this is not to be about marketing. It's about the community. So we had to make sure that nothing we did looked like marketing. So there was no big check presented with a photograph. We didn't report individually how much was contributed by each restaurant, but we gave a sum total because we didn't want any of the little restaurants to feel bad that their contribution maybe wasn't as big as the larger.
Sure.
So that raised several tens of thousands of dollars. Now, another thing was there were 2 local screen printing companies. They created T-shirts for people to wear, and in our case, the tagline was "Clovis Strong." And they either gave a percentage of their sales or all of their profit from the shirts to the fund, and in the first week, that was over $1,500. So that was something. Another one was a farmer meat processor donated an entire beef for raffle, $10 a ticket, so it was accessible to everyone. They sold 1,000 tickets, $10,000 to the fund right there. So those are some creative fundraising things you can do. But remember, as you pointed out, Eric, it doesn't have to be money.
Right.
So since the library was closed for an extended period of time, not only at first as a crime scene, but later as they were replacing the carpet and the holes in the walls from the gunshots, the Civic Center took over the children's reading time. Because as you recall, it was the children's librarian was one of those who died. So the general manager was the first reader at toddler time, and then everybody came and they did a huge hanging banner with the children's handprints, and people could sign the banner that was then hung at the vigil that they had. But then members of the community were asked if they would be readers and help with the children's craft. So the county manager did one of the readings, and tomorrow one of the rodeo princesses is reading a book about horses and is actually bringing her own horse to the Civic Center to show the kids.
Wow.
So there are things that you can do, that aren't money, that aren't fundraising, but that make a difference. It can be, like you suggested, getting a group of people together to perhaps support each other emotionally, maybe to help rebuild a home after a fire, or here's a big one, removing debris. You've seen the tornado debris and earthquake debris, how horrendous that is.
Yes.
Helping to get rid of some of that is huge. And sometimes if you want to do something personal, something like sending a gas card or a gift card to the family members of the victims who maybe have to travel to take care of their loved ones. So those are some ideas of things that you can do that are not money, but that also involve your business.
These are very creative, very thoughtful
Absolutely.
ways that you can be a part of it without it being this big fanfare, without getting in the way, but still also kind of just renewing faith in humanity. People coming together to just be of support and to be a resource. And I know we are so well-meaning. We want to just, pack our car full of stuff and take it, down to, to wherever is affected, but that's not always the best use. It's not always what's really needed. And Pam, for you to bring this right now, especially because of the active shooter incident that you had, we've had all of these different hurricanes, earthquakes, fires, so many disasters going on. And it seems like there's not a week that goes by that there isn't a disaster somewhere. But having a plan in advance, having a charity that you're connected to, and thinking outside of the box of how can we actually kind of clean it up, bring people together, and also then not getting in the way of the fundraising efforts, which of all of these things you don't ever think about until it's happened to you. So Pam, I'm so appreciative that you've shared your expertise with us, which you do every single month with us here on the radio show. How are things going over at A Closer Look Radio these days?
We're doing fine. I just interviewed Nelson DeMille today, who is the author of a lot of best-selling suspense novels, and including the movie The General's Daughter, in case you have seen that.
Great show.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah. So we've got a lot of good people coming up. But I also want to bring up one of the relief organizations that's really special to my heart, and that is Operation Barbecue Relief. If you go to my page on Facebook, you'll see a lot about Operation Barbecue Relief. I'm always posting about them. Just to give you an idea of what the kinds of things that they have done is they are pit masters. They're award-winning pit masters that come out and donate their time, and they get food donated, and they do up barbecue dinners to give to people who are dealing with what's going on in the world today. So, for example, in the crisis, here's their status update today. Yesterday, we prepared 21,200 hot barbecue meals for a 6-day total of 87,000. They just paired up with FedEx to fly in some meals to isolated areas in the Florida Keys, which allows them to bring 10,000 meals a day to those in need. So OperationBarbecueRelief.org is my charity of choice, and I hope that others will consider them as well.
Wow. That is that's good stuff to do. And Pam Atherton, which page did you say we should go to?
Just go to my Pam Atherton page I think it's Pamela Atherton on Facebook. Just go take a look there. And if you miss it, go to OperationBBQRelief.org.
What a great resource. Again, Pam, thanks so much for being with us today. We're so grateful for your contribution every single month.
I am always happy to be on here. It excites my soul to be with you too.
I love that. Yeah, every time we see that it's Pamela Day.
It is Pamela Day.
Right, we get super excited as well. Good, juicy stuff. All right, well, we'll chat with you next month.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you, Pam. Well, and I'm looking now at Operation BBQ Relief. What a cool deal. Big trailers, tents, Operation BBQ Relief, disaster response team on the scene, taking care of people. You can donate simply by texting OBR to 41444. And you can volunteer by texting OBR to 51555.
There you go. There you go. Good stuff. Always, right? And as business owners, this is why we bring community together. So often we're out thinking we've got to figure this all out on our own. We're doing it all separate. But when we collaborate with other business owners, the information that we get is invaluable.
Absolutely.
And we can support each other. We can encourage each other. And, we are not alone in this. And so thank you so much for participating, for sharing the Experience Pros radio show. We couldn't do it without you.
So true. All right, gang, we'll be back right after these messages. Angel Tussie and Eric Raymer helping you get your business and your life right. And if you'd like more information about our program, go check out experiencepros.com. That's experiencepros.com. Back after these messages.
You're listening to the Experienced Pros Radio Show, America's home for positive business talk.